From the Horn Auto Center Studios, Chris Bennett and the Morning Brew.
Jineane, you there?
Yes, I am. Hi, Chris.
Hey, how's it going this morning?
Really good, really good. I love Fridays, first day of spring.
Yay.
Yes.
Spring has sprung.
Yeah.
But you say it's still not time to plant those flowers.
No, it's crazy with the highs we're going to have. We're going to have record highs in the valley, 106.
Oh.
This is a record high in Phoenix for like 2 months from now. Crazy.
Oh,
Just
my
crazy.
gosh.
Yeah, a little too hot.
Jeez Louise.
But we have to wait till the end of May to plant our things because we could still actually hit some weird freeze, and kill our plants. So we have to be careful.
Be careful. Be careful. I have it is Fun Fact Friday. I found some fun facts on spring. You want to hear them?
Yeah.
Well, it's also the first day of spring and Happiness Day. Do you know what the first day of spring is called? You probably do. You're super smart.
I can't remember.
Vernal equinox.
Oh, yes, the vernal equinox.
So day and night are almost exactly equal. Also, and this is true, studies show people are happier and more productive with more daylight, and that is me.
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
I
totally.
get so bummed in the winter when it starts getting dark all the time.
Yeah,
Mhm.
They sleep better, your serotonin's better, everything's better when there's more light. Absolutely. Stay in the light, everyone.
And if your neighbors are mowing their lawn and you notice, I feel less stress, well, that might not be a coincidence because the smell of fresh cut grass can actually reduce stress.
Aw,
That's
I love
good.
that.
And with the being Happiness Day, happiness can actually be contagious, Jineane. Being around happy people boosts your mood.
Oh, definitely. Don't be around the downers.
No, I
Yeah,
can't be around the
no,
downers.
No.
That's why I always try and be happy. I want people to be happy
I
around
want to stay
me.
in my delusion. Yes.
And this is very interesting. Our last fun fact for spring. Spring babies, Jineane, are statistically more likely to be optimistic.
Oh, see, I'm a spring baby.
There you go.
Yeah, there
Heck
you
yeah.
go.
Sweet.
Yeah.
So your birthday must be coming up.
Yeah.
Heck
well,
yeah.
May.
Oh,
Yeah.
May. It's
Almost,
gonna
yeah.
be May.
Right between, yes.
Awesome. Well, Jineane, it is Friday, and it's time for one of my favorite segments you do. All right, Jineane, I'm ready for some nerd news on this Nerd News Friday.
Yeah. Well, scientists just freak me out all the time, the stuff they can come up with. I love this one. Scientists at the University of Edinburgh, have genetically engineered a bacteria that is turning discarded plastic into L-Dopa, which is a drug used to treat Parkinson's disease.
Wow.
What? Isn't that crazy? The process breaks down stuff like old food packaging into its chemical building blocks, and then they're reprogrammed with this bacteria. It converts it into a medication. Crazy. Just crazy, right? And then also, there's one other one I want to share with you. Robotic rattlesnakes. University of Texas at El Paso, they've got a lifelike 3D printed robotic rattlesnake, and they wanted to find out if the rattle scared off other animals, and it showed that the animals reacted far more strongly when it rattled versus the robot that was just totally silent, of course. And some animals from rattlesnake regions were a little jumpy, even when it didn't rattle, even though they've never encountered one, so they seem to have a natural, thing for them. But that's all we need is robotic rattlesnakes and tarantulas and stuff like that.
I know.
I think we do have robotic toy tarantulas.
Robots.
Kids, yeah.
They're not even taking our jobs anymore. They're taking the animals' jobs.
Yes, exactly. That's the whole thing. Absolutely. So some cool stuff. Chew on plastic, everyone. I'm just kidding.
There you go. I
Don't do
chew on my
that.
pens all the time. Everyone gives me a hard time, and I'm like, no, it's good for you. Trust me.
No.
All right, Jineane, today is National Proposal Day, so I thought we'd play a fun game. I'm going to give you some hypothetical or not so hypothetical proposals, and you tell me if you would say yes or no.
All right.
How about a Jumbotron proposal at the big game? Proposals on the big screen.
No.
No. Okay. What about a fast food proposal? He proposes by hiding a ring and a box of chicken nuggets.
Absolutely not.
Really?
I would
Gosh.
not. Yeah, no. Well, also, chicken nuggets. There's no chicken. They're so nasty. Yeah, no. Maybe a piece of cheesecake or something.
Oh, okay. All right. At someone else's wedding.
No,
that's tacky,
tacky,
right? Very tacky. Let's see. How about at an escape room and the final clue leads to, will you marry me?
Okay, that could be cool.
Yeah.
That could be cool. I like that one. Yeah.
That's good. How about tattoo first, ask later? He gets your name tattooed and then proposes.
And you say, no.
No!
You laugh. That's so mean. Yeah. That's a funny one.
How about skywriting? But will you marry me with a plane in the air?
Oh, that's very romantic. That's expensive. Yeah.
Yeah, but you would say yes to that.
But that's a nice one. Yeah, that's a neat one.
All right, and last one, how about a flash mob? They get a bunch of people to dance in public, and then he asks to marry you.
You know what? I like the flash mob stuff. I think those are so fun. And I may have gone for the Jumbotron, especially, but with the recent Jumbotron problem with the affair thing, that was just a nasty little, But yeah, no, I like a lot of those. Those are fun. Okay. But I'd prefer like a long horseback ride down on the blue somewhere. Yeah, that'd be nice.
Is that how your husband Clint produced?
No, he was in my garden. We were in my garden, and I'm just digging stuff up and all this kind of stuff. And it was dark, and I was doing some things, and I had the lights on out there. And he just cropped up in my garden and dropped down to one knee in the garden that he had put in for me. Yeah,
that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, awesome. That is Proposal or No Proposal with Jineane Ford on this National Proposal Day. We love you, best friend. Have a great weekend.
Love you too. Bye, Chris.
Bye.
Chris Bennett's Country Climb, Star of the Week.
And we have another artist that was sent our way by Austin Burke in the Playlisted podcast. And this week, we're excited to welcome Jared Shoemaker from the band Marshull, who you may also recognize from this season of The Voice, where he earned a chair turn from Adam Levine and joined Team Adam. Today, we're going to get to know Jared, talk about his journey in music and his experience on The Voice. We'll hear his song, Rock and Roll Cowboy. Welcome, Jared Shoemaker.
Good to be here.
Thanks for being on, Jared. Before we get to the nitty-gritty of your country climb, I like to start with a fun icebreaker questions. You ready?
I'm ready.
Who was the first artist that inspired you and that made you want to make music?
I'd have to say my buddy Josh Noah when I was in the Navy. That's really, he kind of gave me that spark to start playing and singing.
And what was the first concert you ever attended?
I got invited to a concert by some girls in high school. I think my freshman year. It was like Metro Station.
Metro Station's the name of the band?
Yeah. It was like an old emo band or something like that in the 2000. What was that? Like 2009.
And is there an artist that people or your fans might be surprised you listen to?
I would say no, because I play everything. Anything you can think of, I'll play it. I'd say probably one of my favorite singers is Chris Cornell.
Oh, heck yeah. I love Chris Cornell. And what is your favorite thing about performing live?
The favorite thing about performing live is just having a good time with my band. We're out there having a great time every time, and I wouldn't trade it for the world.
And last question, it'll be the hardest question I ask all day. If you could request one country song for the rest of your life on the radio, parties, etc., what country song are you requesting and why?
That's easy. My favorite country song is Broken Heartsville by Joe Nichols. That's just such a good, solid country song. It just reminds me of riding around the truck, going fishing with my grandpa, and it's just, that's what country is about.
And Jared, you are in a band called Marshull. How did that band come together?
Well, I was working for the Army, and one of the guys I worked with, he was my good buddy. We went out to the lake, we went doing all kinds of things together. And then I posted a video online of me singing some Tennessee Whiskey by Chris Stapleton. And he's like, dude, I didn't know you could sing. And I drum. And then, we had a jam session. We had some friends over, and we all just started a band. And right around the pandemic time, we just started practicing a lot. And then after that was over and the bars and clubs started opening back up, we just started gigging.
Heck yeah. And I heard you were in the U.S. Navy. You said you were in the Army. You were in the U.S. Navy as well?
So I was in the U.S. Navy, and then I worked for the Army.
Oh, nice. Well, first of all, thank you so much for your service. You started singing in the Navy while you were in the service. Explain how that happened.
Yeah, I had some friends that would just kind of sit around and have a jam session. I had my own little shop at the bottom of the boat, and it was all mine. You know, I could do whatever I wanted in there, and there's not really a whole lot of room for your guitars. So they're like, "Hey, can we put our guitars down in your shop?" And I was like, "Absolutely, man." And they would all come down there and they would jam, and I played a little drums back in the day, a little bit of guitar, but I hadn't touched nothing in almost a decade. And they all started playing, and we hit a port in Greece, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna get a guitar. So I bought a guitar in Greece, and when I was down there, working on pumps and stuff like that, and I was all by myself and bored, I could, sing and kind of get all the tips and tricks out of the way of, cracking your voice and, learning how to sing. I could do all that without anybody hearing me. So that was awesome. And yeah, I just sang every day, for 10 hours a day probably, while I was in the Navy.
You are on this season's The Voice. How did that opportunity to audition for The Voice come about?
I signed up years ago after I got out of the Navy, and, I decided, what, I'm gonna learn how to be a performer first. I think I was a little, wet behind the ear. I wasn't ready for that. I had just kind of got my bearings on learning how to sing, and then, I told the guys in my band, I was like, hey, I'm gonna get a job. I'm kind of like, we're gonna focus on writing and recording songs and doing the social media thing, because the whole cover band thing, I was kind of over it. So my girlfriend told me, you ought to try out for The Voice before you get a job, and I was like, all right, I'll do it. So I did the 90-second, audition online, and here we are.
And then what was going through your mind at the blind audition?
I was terrified. I was absolutely terrified. We practiced for months for 90 seconds. Literally just a 90-second song. We practiced and practiced and practiced. And, all that time and all that energy came into one moment. And it was exhilarating, really. It was one of the best days of my life, really. It was cool.
And then when Adam turned his chair, what was that feeling like?
I didn't even think it was real, because I thought on TV, you hear the douche, and then they turn around. I didn't hear it. I don't know if the crowd was yelling, and I just didn't hear it. I just saw him turn around. I was like, wait a minute, he's looking at me, and I'm looking at him. That means I'm in this. So I don't think I realized it until I got done with the song. I was like, oh, he turned. I was like, cool.
We are back with Jared Shoemaker, today's Country Climb Star of the Week. And Jared, we're going to play one of your band's songs, Rock and Roll Cowboy. What inspired that song, and how did this one come about?
So this song came about one day. I was thinking back on the first time I ever had a conversation with my grandma. My grandma and my grandpa, my grandpa was a cowboy. My grandma was Native American, so it was kind of like that perfect Western couple. They're all from Montana, and they got married and divorced 3 times. They had a very rocky relationship throughout my whole life. And I kind of sat down and had a conversation with her about it when I was 15. And it was the first time she ever really talked to me kind of like a woman to man conversation. It wasn't like a conversation with your grandma or your mom or your dad. It was like we were 2 friends having a conversation. And she was telling me, Grandpa used to run through the bars and do all the things, and it ticked me off. So we'd get divorced and we'd break up, and back and forth, and it was a real rocky relationship. But no matter what he did, I couldn't stop going back to him. I love him to death, and that's it's kind of a song about a rocky relationship, and no matter what you do, you love the person you love.
Well, we're gonna listen to this song right now. This is Marshull with Rock and Roll Cowboy on Q Country 92.5.
Every to tears on the heart, kind of lonely, hell of a time. Rock and roll cowboy, don't you put on a show. Rock and roll cowboys, they come and they go. He's a man full of mission, libertine history thing, yeah. You look to his eyes like Montana skies from the mountain, and you long for the night. It's nowhere inside when he loves you again. You'll never know if he's staying or leaving. It's all just the tears on the heart, kind of lonely, hell of a time. Rock and roll cowboy, don't you put on a show. The rock and roll cowboys, they come and they go. To the rock and roll cowboy. It's all just the tears on the heart, kind of lonely, hell of a time. Rock and roll cowboy, don't you put on a show. Rock and roll cowboy, they come and they go. To the rock and roll cowboy, to the rock and roll cowboy.
That was Marshull with Rock and Roll Cowboy. We are talking today's Country Climb Star of the Week, Jared Shoemaker. Jared, thank you so much for letting us play you and your band's song. And do you guys have any new music, anything we should be on the lookout for this year?
Absolutely. We got about 3 or 4 songs we're working on right now. We got our own studio. If you're a producer and you want to mix and master some stuff, give me a message. We're definitely working hard at it.
And I love that song. If you had to give me 2 other songs for people to listen to better know Marshull and your music, what would you recommend?
You know, we're a country band, but we're also a rock and roll band at heart. We love our Southern rock. We love our Skinner and stuff like that. So I would check out, I'm going to go with Cold Hard Change and Keep On Moving On.
And how can people follow and support you?
You can find us at MarshallMusic.com. Marshull Music all over every social media platform, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, all of them.
And then everyone, make sure you tune in to The Voice and cheer on Jared Shoemaker. Jared, thank you so much for your time today, and thank you for being today's Country Climb Star of the Week.
Thanks for having me.
Chris Bennett's Country Climb Star of the Week.